Welcome to 20 by 20. My name's KM. That is Mark.
What's up, y'all?
We're going to be doing a throwback episode this time where we're going to review a classic pay-per-view. The first one is going to be two pay-per-views. We're going to do the 1992 Halloween Havoc from WCW and the 1992 Survivor Series from WWF. The first one is going to be the 1992 Halloween Havoc that came from the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So from this episode, or I shouldn't say episode, this event, Halloween Havoc, we have Tony Schiavone and Bruno Sammartino doing partial commentary, but our ringside commentaries are Jim Ross and Jesse the Body Ventura. What'd you think of this setup with Bruno Sammartino and Tony Schiavone kind of being in the crowd doing commentary, but then kind of like a boxing style right up against the ring, we have Jim Ross and Jesse the Body?
I thought I brought something pretty cool to show. Just the way of going about booking that the commentary for the show. Honestly, I think you got the term former wrestler, retired. And of course, JR in his early days and bringing his genius works to the table. And I think that really brought out something interesting there. I mean, and then of course at the top you have Schiavone and Bruno. So I thought, Bruno being the huge star that he was back in his prime and very well known still to this day, and within the wrestling community and really brought out, of course now Hall of Famer in WWE. But hey, I thought it brought out something really cool. I mean, that was something different you don't see really ever this day and age. And I thought it brought out something cool and different flavors.
Yeah, and one of the things I picked up on kind of immediately is that you could tell Schiavone and Jim Ross were standouts. One of the things that I kind of found funny about this setup is I'm 90% sure Jesse the Body became a commentator for WWF within a couple years after this. Mm-hmm. And Jim Ross went there, I believe, in 96 as a commentator for WWF.
Ringside that way. And then they started off more as like the guy away from the table in 93 with WWF. So yeah.
Which one was that, Jesse or Jim Ross?
That'd be JR, and he did the ringside commentary in WWF back the year back in '96, I think it was, and but he started doing away from the ring commentary and in the interviews in 1993 with WWF. All
right. Yeah, so I will be frank, I didn't watch WWF in this era, so I wasn't positive, and I still try to get caught up on the pay-per-views.
Debuted at WrestleMania 9. That's JR's first appearance, first time doing anything for WWF back then, and that's when they did the Toga theme.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep, I remember seeing clips of that.
Yeah.
So
he did not like that. JR, he hated doing the toga.
I can just imagine Jim Ross with a toga while wearing a cowboy hat.
No. She didn't wear the cowboy hat with that one.
Right, but I'm just saying. Seeing this guy in a Roman outfit while wearing a cowboy hat. So from the intro, they kind of talk about spin the wheel, make the deal, where they have all the different 12 matches that could be between Sting and Jake the Snake. They also talk about World Heavyweight Champion Ron Farouk Simmons. He was a world champion in 1992. Never achieved that in WWF though.
Nope.
And they're setting up Cactus Jack and Barbarian, as well as then they go back to ringside with Jim Ross and Jesse the Body. I thought that was kind of cool that they had it's kind of boxy style, but and I can see that being super dangerous by having the commentary table right up against the ring. But it was one of the little things I picked up.
They did that even more so, but even more after that too in WCW.
Right.
Back in Nitro days, starting off with that, different shows.
Right. Right. I actually prefer the Nitro setup. Where they're kind of more closer to the entranceway. I thought that creates a different a different way for the wrestlers to interact with the commentators. And actually, AEW kind of does something similar with that. But I've always dug that style. So the first match, we got Beautiful Bobby, Michael P.S. Hayes, Arn Anderson versus Shane Douglas, Johnny Gunn, and the Z-Man. So what did you think about this match?
It was a match that kept me going. And when you have a match that keeps you interested, that's a lot of the battle right there. And they pretty good storytelling. Was into it. Good. I thought it was the right match that was booked for the opening. Sometimes that can be a tough thing to do when you're trying to put the right people to kick off a show and not having something that's a super match. So I thought it was I gave that a 4.5 out of 1 through 10. So that was a very
So okay, close to the same rating. I actually gave it a 5 out of 10. Although I did make a couple notes, and this is actually about Jesse than anything else. At one point, Jesse the Body says, "I think Shane Douglas is a right-wing Republican." What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Another thing he kept doing, and I picked this up throughout the whole pay-per-view, but he even said, he kept bringing up Bruno Sammartino in this match. And then he said, "Oh, Shane and him must both be from Pittsburgh because they're both handsome." What?
I'm sorry, go ahead. What you say?
I mean, I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, Jesse, I've only seen you commentate a couple times, and I'm not getting good vibes off of this one.
Honestly, it's just my perspective. I think some of our listeners out there some of them might understand this and go along. But a lot of things with color commentator, especially one that has more of a comedic side of them, at least have that tendency. They can say things kind of like get you thinking, like, what the hell did he just say? And it's just kind of off the wall. Lawler was the same way, and Taz had his moments, and there's Bobby Heenan, major one that could see things that makes you scratch your head, but makes you laugh at the same time. But I think that's one thing about good color commentary can be when they have that little bit comedic side. They just kind of make it. What did he just say? I know what you're thinking. What's that got to do with what's going on?
Right. I was stunned more than anything else. And don't get me wrong, I love Lawler and I love Bobby the Brain and whatnot, and they definitely said some off the wall stuff. But this one caught me really off guard. One of the other things I noticed about this match, and something you kind of don't see nowadays, is everybody in the match was wearing light colors, like white or yellow or something like that, except for Michael P.S.A.'s. He was the only person in black. And nowadays, that's completely flipped. You typically see people in dark colors constantly, as opposed to the light colors.
I actually did not notice that, but I'm not surprised you did.
Well, it was one of those things I'm like, man, everybody's wearing white, even the people that are facing each other. Well, and it kind of goes back to like old Westerns, because old Westerns, what they would do is a good guy would wear white and the bad guy would wear black. That's how they designated it. And I'm used to seeing that. And you would have Stone Cold Steve Austin that would popularize the black on gear, and like Goldberg's the same thing. And now everyone wears black constantly, where you can't tell the difference between anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I also noted that at the end, Gunn pins Hayes with the Luthez press, which I haven't seen that done in a very long time.
That's back then. They had a very different way of pinning. It wasn't always about finishes, and it wasn't. They just get you at the blue sometimes, which I really like that too. I mean, it evolved and changed as time went on. But those pins that kind of come out of nowhere. I'm also a fan of that too. So I think it was very obviously interesting ending with that. You don't see that.
Right.
Very often.
Right. So the next segment, they show it's Missy Hyatt outside of Rick Rude's locker room. And Missy Hyatt tries to talk to Harley Race as he goes inside, and she kind of gets dusted off. And then you see Harley Race go inside Rick Rude and Rick Rude's locker room, and they're talking about, the commentary is talking about what could that be about, trying to kind of set up a stipulation where Harley Race might be involved with Rick Rude later on. The next match is Brian Pillman versus Ricky Steamboat.
Hey, I want to stop you for 1 second there. What I'm going to say is going to sound very funny. Not a lot of listeners going to probably crack up and think I'm crazy on saying this. But I know I was touch tired when I was watching that pay-per-view. It's something I've seen Missy Hyatt, a number of times on clips and everything, even back then. One thing I've seen, I don't know what she was wearing or what it was, or just the way she smiled, or just looked. But to me, she looked like a grown-up version, I guess, in a very different way. It looked like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, I can see that. They have
totally crazy.
They have some kind of a similar look. I could see how you could get that.
I just saw that and I just noticed, I'm like, who does she look like? I'm thinking, I'm like, what she kind of looks like what her age Missy Hyatt is at that time. And it's like, she looks like an older, an actual woman that would look similar to like Miley Cyrus. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. I hadn't seen Missy Hyatt before.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I saw her personally, but I can see that.
That was funny. But anyways, we go next to the match. I just sat my notice out on that during that pay-per-view. I'm like, that's okay.
So it was Brian Pillman versus Ricky Steamboat. What was your thoughts on this one?
Sorry, I'm coughing tonight a little bit bad. I thought it was a really good match. It was just a thriller, and they just went toe to toe, and it just something that both of them had good chemistry in that match, and they both have a good, especially back then, and they had a good similarity and good chemistry. There was a good story, and I didn't know much really about the rivalry, the lead up to the match, and I gave that match actually probably the highest rating of it all, but 7.
Okay. Did you pick up on what they're trying to portray in the match, like the story?
It's been since a week since I.
Okay. So I noted this. One of the things that kind of stuck out to me is Ricky Steamboat kind of goes over the ropes, but he doesn't touch the floor. And one of the things the commentator says is, well, that would have been a disqualification. Because this is the Bill Watts era. But one of the things that they tried to sell is that, one, Ricky Steamboat was the wily veteran. And Pillman was the one that's trying to outsmart him. So what they started doing is they're both kind of a cruiserweight build. Ricky Steamboat is not a big guy, but they're having Ricky Steamboat do these power moves, which you didn't really see from Steamboat. But because Pillman is significantly smaller than him, they're able to pull it off. Yeah. And there's a couple points where Steamboat tries to do an Irish whip, and basically Pillman just falls to the floor, falls to his knees, so he didn't have to run. So it was one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of crafty. I've never seen. So one of the things that I picked up on this one is like, okay, that'd be kind of cool to see nowadays, where someone goes for an Irish whip and like, I'm going to use Orange Cassidy in this instance, where they go to do Irish whip and just Orange Cassidy just falls on his back and just stays there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
so.
Absolutely. No, I thought it was a really good match. Honestly, it kept me on my feet and really entertaining. Yeah, but yeah, definitely Ricky Veteran was showing a skill, and Pillman was trying to capitalize. So that's good. Absolutely. I actually for our listeners who never got a chance to meet Ricky Steamboat, I'd say he's a really nice guy. I met him about 5 years ago at St. Pete Clearwater Airport. I was going down that's where I'm from, born and raised, is Tampa Bay area. Went down there for a couple of days and happened to just see him like this. That's Ricky. And, so I went up to him eventually, and really nice guy, earth guy, and he was with his girlfriend, and she was coming from Knoxville area, East Tennessee area to visit him, I guess. And no, he was really genuine. He didn't. She introduced me to his girlfriend, and genuine, real nice guy. He's talked about his match with Macho Man back in WrestleMania 3 for about a minute, but he just really nice guy, and not a huge guy, but of course very muscular, for being athletic for the build. So yeah, a great guy though. Absolutely, probably the best celebrity I probably have met thus far. With a couple other people in mind too.
Yeah, and it's funny.